Good morning, folks. I am at Live Oak Landing on the banks of the Tensas River, just outside of a small town called Baymonette, Alabama. If you look behind me, there's a lot of bass boats and they're in a hurry to get somewhere. So you would assume that they're going bass fishing, but today they're not. Today they're fishing the largest bowfin tournament in the United States. And this is a tournament that started back in 1974 with my daddy and his club, the Bay Area Bassmasters. And so I'm going to go through the last 49 years of this tournament and how fishing has evolved over the years. So y'all check this out.
Most freshwater fishermen that pursue the more well-known game fish, the bass, view the bowfin as nothing more than a nuisance. But that's not the case in South Alabama, where this fish is highly regarded and sought after by anglers during the summer months on the Mobile-Tensas River Delta. This creature goes by several names: cottonfish, cypress trout, grinnell, shoepick, but it is best known as the bowfin. For decades, bass fishermen saw the bowfin as both an obstacle in their sport and a rival to bass for food. These beasts, with a mouth containing plates like steel and rows of sharp teeth, date back to the Jurassic period around 150 million years ago. Makes one believe that if you hang around long enough, you'll finally be appreciated. During the summer months, when bass fishing tends to get tough due to rising water temperatures, the bowfin is in peak form, hiding out in shallow areas with low oxygen content, waiting to destroy anything in their path. Back in 1972, a group of guys formed a club and they called it the Bay Area Bassmasters. In 1974, my daddy and some of the guys from the club thought it would be fun to have a bowfin tournament, and this is how it all began. Unlike tournaments today, the morning blast-off started with my daddy shooting a pistol in the air. So right out of the chute, you were in a fight for your life just to get to your fishing spot without going overboard. The tournaments back then didn't attract huge numbers of fishermen or a lot of prize money, but they laid the groundwork for what would begin an 11-year run of the World Champion Bowfin Tournament in 1990. Over this 11-year period, the World Champion Bowfin Tournament would become the largest freshwater tournament in the state, according to the January 1998 issue of Alabama Game and Fish magazine. It also provided the Bay Area Bassmasters with a solid foundation of avid bowfin anglers that would continue to compete in their tournaments for the next 23 years. The 1974 tournament was the beginning of the bowfin losing its negative stereotype and becoming a celebrated rival to the bass. The 1980s were the golden age of bass fishing, and the popularity of the sport took off, thanks to another Alabama resident, Ray Scott. During this time, Daddy was busy bass fishing, trying to get us in public boat ramps, and teaching the Faulkner State School of Fishing. So my repeated request to bring back the bowfin tournaments went unnoticed until 1990, when he launched the World Champion Bowfin Tournament from Live Oak Landing. Over the next 11 years, this tournament and its popularity exploded, gaining national attention. Who would have dreamed that a bowfin tournament would have more boats than a bass tournament? Even the hardcore bass fishermen that claimed they'd never put a bowfin in their boat couldn't resist the prize money. It took them a few years, but eventually they were winning the bowfin tournaments just as they were the bass tournaments. This was much more than your traditional tournament. We made it into a spectacle. From the Thursday night pre-tournament meetings, waiting for your number to be called, to the best legs contest. Tournament morning was always met with great expectations and hype. We didn't leave the ramp until well after daylight, giving everyone plenty of time to visit and talk with fellow anglers. The weigh-ins were the best part of the tournament, with thousands of spectators showing up for live music, lots of food, and a famous wet t-shirt contest. We were a little less politically correct back then. The year Ronnie Summers Jr. and David Fisher took the crown, we arranged for them to be driven to the polygraph test in style. We rented a hearse. This tournament series also served a good cause. Proceeds were used to send a high school senior to a local community college, as long as they were majoring in an outdoor-related field. Auburn University attended a couple of the tournaments and did studies on the bowfin. In 1978, David Woods broke the state record with a 17-pound, 12-ounce bowfin. And in 1998, everything went right for Glenn Wilson and Kevin Zellers when they established a new record with 5 fish weighing 46.66 pounds. The record still stands today and it may never be broken. The notoriety of a bowfin tournament attracted fishermen that never fished tournaments, just like the one today, because we all believe that anyone can catch a bowfin. In 1999, after outgrowing Live Oak Landing, we made the decision to move the tournament weigh-in to downtown Bay Minette in order to accommodate all the boats and spectators, but it never had the same feeling as being at the river. In 2014, Live Oak Landing received a huge facelift when it was purchased by Forever Wild and the Baldwin County Commission. With the help of our state representative from District 32, Randy Davis, Live Oak Landing now rivals any park in the state. It is the #1 destination for freshwater tournaments with spacious parking, fishing piers, primitive camping, and an RV park. Recently, County Commissioner Jeb Ball built bathrooms and we are so grateful to have them. I can still recall the single bathroom in the Live Oak store we all used on tournament morning. All you could do was wait your turn and hold your breath. Looking back on the bowfin tournaments of the past and present, this tournament and fishing in general has changed a lot over the past 49 years. When I attended the Bay Area Bassmaster tournament, one of the first things I noticed was the lack of smoke coming out of the engines. During the 70s, 80s, and 90s, two-stroke Johnsons, Mercuries, Evinrudes, and Mariners choked out any mosquitoes that dared come close to the tournament takeoff. Boats today are bigger, faster, and have all sorts of electronics, unlike the boats of the past where you were lucky to have a flasher. During the 90s, long sleeve shirts were not a thing and most fishermen went shirtless. Almost all the reels I saw contained braided line, whereas back in the day, we all used monofilament because it's all we had. After attending the Bay Area Bassmasters tournament, I'm really encouraged by the group of young fishermen coming through the high school ranks. These teenagers are fishing on a higher level than most of us were at their age. They're traveling and competing against other teams around the state. They understand technology and they're able to quickly adapt and try new techniques. I have no doubt the future of this club and bowfin tournaments are in good hands with these guys waiting in the wings to take over.